Hello, everybody, and Steve Sarkisian addresses what went down in the swamp and what is going to happen in Red River, hopefully for us Texas fans to win. Please hit that like button. Please subscribe down below, and let's get right into it. So, obviously, Steve Sarkisian's media availability every Monday took place, and he addressed questions, and some of the stuff that stood out to me, I'm going to address to you guys. So, someone asked him about should you have taken an offensive lineman in the portal. I think the answer to all of us is yes. The problem is Steve Sarkisian cannot come out and say, yeah, my offensive line stinks. I should have taken someone in the portal. He did not come out and say that. He basically said you have to look at your team. You have to look at what's available in the portal. You have to look at everything around that circumstances and situations. And that is obviously fair. That's what you should do as a head coach. But the problem is when you watch our offensive line, then you watch other teams' offensive lines like Ohio State, who took a couple, Oregon took a couple. Indiana took a guard. By the way, I believe he's an All-American guard. And Pat Coogan, who started for Notre Dame's national championship team, and he's on Indiana now. Would he be an upgrade? Absolutely, he would be an upgrade at the left guard position. So Steve Sarkisian can say whatever he wants. He let the ball drop there. Now, can you come out and say that? Absolutely not. Like I said, but he let the ball drop, and he knows that, and you'll see that when it's addressed next portal season, because we will go into the portal and get offensive linemen come next season. Now, he also talked about Nick Brooks saying, hey, listen, I don't think he should be expected to be perfect, and I completely agree with that. You should not have to rely on a freshman guy that plays tackle to come in and play guard. That should not happen at the University of Texas. It's the University of Texas. You have the biggest, if not one of the biggest, athletic budgets in the country. You should be able to get one or two guys handpicked from other teams' roster and say, hey, jump in the portal, we'll pay you. That's how it should work. So that's not an excuse to me. None of this is an excuse to me. This offensive line is abysmal. I actually went and watched the Arkansas game from a couple years ago, his first year, and compared it to that offensive line. That offensive line is better than this offensive line, guys. Go watch the tape. They are a better offensive line than this one. Not by a lot, but they are better. I would trade 100% right now. And he talked about seizing the moments. This is another thing that stood out to me, and I completely agree. And we've talked about this on our live shows every Monday at 8 p.m. Eastern, every Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern time. This team does not seize opportunities. If anything, they create opportunities for the other team by giving opportunities away. They do not capitalize. You see the fumble early on. You could jump on that. Might change the game. You see these punts punted inside the 3-yard line. You're not downing them. You're letting them go in the end zone. You're coming out to the 20, 25-yard line, 20-yard line, and that's what 17 to 18 yards of field position gained just by not being able to down a football. You see 1st and 5s go to 1st and 10s, 1st and 15s, or 1st and 10s go to 1st and 15s, 1st and 20s because you're getting false starts. This team is too sloppy. And he talked about seizing the moment. Well, guess what? If you're not going to be good enough to, stay composed in certain situations and not commit penalties, you're not going to be good enough to seize the moments because they will pass you very quickly. So that stood out to me. Talked about Arch's toughness, and I completely agree. That is the one of 2 or 3 things I took away from the Florida game. We have a quarterback that's willing to sit in there and take the hits. There's very few quarterbacks in general that are willing to take the type of beating Arch Manning took in that game. We're talking 35 pressures. We're talking under pressure 60% of his dropbacks. We're talking 6 sacks, could have been 10 sacks. Getting hit like 4 or 5 times when you're throwing the football. I learned that my guy is tough. He's a gamer. He's willing to stand in there, and he was not the main issue. Again, was Arch Manning perfect in the game? Absolutely not. But this is the thing, too. There's no nuanced discussions in football anymore. If you go on the media, either Arch Manning had none of the problem or Arch Manning was the whole problem. Not the case, guys. Arch Manning was a C or a C- in that game. The offensive line was an F. The running game was an F. I thought the game plan actually on second watch was way worse. So Arch Manning, to me, nowhere near the problem in that game. Nowhere near the problem. The only part that I thought played better than Arch Manning in the game was the wide receivers. I thought the wide receivers got separation. At times, they were wide open deep, and Arch couldn't find them when he did have a clean pocket, which is very few times that happened, but it did happen. But Arch Manning was not the main problem in that football game. And anyone that tells you different is lying. And here's some good proof. Brooks Austin tweeted after the game, the Film Get Network guy. As soon as he watched all 22, he deleted all his takes on Arch Manning and said, nope, not his fault, because it wasn't. Aaron Murray said the same thing. So It's not, guys. The only guy that will come out here and say that is Joel Klatt. And Joel Klatt is all for clicks at this point, if you haven't noticed. I take his opinion with very little credence at this point. Like, he's sold out. We'll talk about that on the live show tonight. He's sold out. But that's what his thought on Arch Manning. Now, the run game, he talked about Rolodexing the running backs. He believes at this point they're Rolodexing the running backs. One guy can't get rhythm. Again, this is also a portal thing. I said going into the year, I didn't think Trey Wisner could be a number one running back on a championship team. I got so much hate from that, from everyone. I got hate. Listen, Fanatic Perspective, great channel. Steven, he was wrong on that. Nino's Corner said the same thing. He was wrong on that. I told people Trey Wisner's not it. He doesn't break tackles. He's not a great pass protector. And he's not a great athlete. He is what he is for a reason. He was a low 3-star recruit for a reason. Not a championship running back. He's a nice number 3 running back on a championship team. That's what he is. He's a nice 8 to 10 carries, maybe a game. Maybe. That's being kind. That's what he is, guys. But he believes they have to get someone into rhythm. I don't know who that's going to be. I personally believe Christian Clark and James Simon are the two guys with the highest upside that are healthy right now. CJ Baxter has the highest upside when he's healthy. He's not healthy. So I think those are the two guys you have to look at getting the majority of carries in this Red River game. If you don't, I don't know who you're going to go with. Because he clearly wants to cut this down to a 2-man rotation with one guy getting 75% of the carries. That's basically what he said today in the press conference. I don't know who that's going to be. Drop in the comments. I'd love to know who you guys think should get 70 to 75% of the carries. I don't know who that should be. I don't think it should be Trey Wisner. I don't think he has enough juice. I'm not going to go on him too much. This isn't his fault at all. The longest run of the year is 18 yards, guys. This offensive line doesn't create the holes. The running backs don't see the holes when they're created, and there's not enough juice in this running back room. We missed there. We should have gotten a portal offensive lineman or two, and we should have got a running back. He said this is going to be a big culture tester game. I completely agree. You came into the swamp, and they took it to you physically. Period. End of story. They were better on special teams. They were better in the trenches. They were better at committing less penalties and untimely penalties than you. They were better all around, and they especially out-physicaled you in the trenches. So are you going to be able to do that to Oklahoma? I think the defensive line has a chance to do that to Oklahoma's offensive line. Oklahoma's offensive line is not very good, guys. They have a chance. On the other side of the football, it's going to be hard to do that. I don't know how that's going to happen. We'll talk about the night. We'll see. I don't know. But you have to bring in toughness. You have to start fast in this game. This is going to tell me everything I need to know about the Steve Sarkisian tenure. Because, listen, guys, early on, he could say it wasn't his players. It wasn't his time. We're getting better. And they did. They went from 5-7 to 8-5. Then they went into the playoffs. This is the first true test for all of his players to experience true adversity. If you lose this game, you're 95% out of the playoffs. 9-3 is the worst you can be to make the playoffs this year. I think we probably will have a 9-3 team, maybe even 2 this year. But this is it. You were playing for your college football playoff lives. You are playing for pride. You're playing for your culture. I need to see it in this game, and Steve Sarkisian brought that up as well. So I completely agree with that. Last thing, he made a comment, and I saw it on social media before I watched the press conference of, hey, out of 135 teams, that if they played at Ohio State and at the Swamp, what would their record be? I hate that. This is like you coming home after you did something bad to your parents and you telling your parents, well, they did it. We have different expectations for ourselves, as we should. We're the University of Texas. They should have different expectations in that locker room, and they do. They've talked about it. So you can't give that answer. Now, that's part of it. The second part is Kirk Bohls asked a very narcissistic and stupid-ass question. He asked, Steve, how does it feel to make me look bad about how you started 3-2? Dude, what the fuck are you talking about? Why the fuck is this about you? Are you serious? That's how you worded that question. You could have said, hey, you were ranked the number 1 team in the country and you're 3-2. What happened? You could have just said that. Instead, you made it about yourself. So that's a whole nother thing about some guy thinking he's special because he's done this for a long period of time, where if he's breaking in now, he probably doesn't get to the point he is at right now. But, that's he would never think that because he's Kirk Bohls. He's too special. That was a dumb question. Sark answered it very dumbly as well. So bad on both sides. The question was stupid, but Sark said something stupid as well. I completely disagree with it. It reminded me a lot of Tom Herman saying winning is hard. I don't need to hear that at the University of Texas. The expectations are up here, and the standard should be up here. You don't need to drop them. We should have beat Florida. We should have beat Ohio State. Those should be the expectations of the coach of the University of Texas. Point blank, period, end of story. Now, was the question dumb? Absolutely, but handle it better. And then if you want to go on a tangent on him for asking a stupid question, go ahead. Again, guys, please hit that like button. Please subscribe down below. Join us every Monday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time and every Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. I really appreciate you guys being here. And as always, hook 'em.